Has your Acorn or Brooks Stairlift stopped working, or is it even just travelling slowly? Well, it could be that your batteries have failed. In this video, we'll take you on a step-by-step guide to show you exactly how to change those batteries and get your Stairlift back up and running again very quickly. Hi, my name's Ian from Helping Hand Stairlifts, and in this video I'm going to take you through everything you need to know to get the batteries replaced without damaging the Stairlift, and the batteries you should be buying to ensure you get longevity and life out of the Stairlift going forwards. The battery technology on the Acorn and Brooks Stairlifts has stayed the same over the years, but the technology within the Stairlift has changed. If you've got an older Acorn or Brooks 120 Stairlift, the battery is on board, and because of the age of the lift now, you'll probably get up to 2 years life out of the batteries before they start fading and the Stairlift will travel slower up the staircase. Moving on to the later 130 model, you probably get around 3 years on a pair of batteries, and again you'll notice a slow decline as the batteries no longer charge and function as well as they used to. Coming on to the latest version, this is the Brooks 130 T700. This came out in 2017, and at that point they took the battery charger off board, and it's been a lot more successful system ever since. We very rarely have to change batteries on the Stairlift due to them failing. It's normally human error if the batteries have been turned off and they've drained too flat to take a recharge, but the batteries themselves on the T700 models tend to last and last. They're very good. Before we take the cover off and get into it, I just want to let everyone know that it is super safe. It's only low voltage inside the Stairlift. It's just battery powered. There's no mains power to the actual Stairlift itself. So you are safe to complete this. If you're happy to complete it following my step-by-step instructions, very good. If you're not, make sure you get a qualified Stairlift engineer who can come and have a look at it for you professionally. But you should better do it if you've got the simple tools and just follow my guide. Okay, so let's get into this. We'll start off with the basic tools you're going to need to complete this. You're going to need a Phillips or a Posi 2 long-headed screwdriver, and also a stubby screwdriver. Now, I normally take the seat off to change the batteries, but just for ease and not complicating the situation, I'm going to leave the seat on in this situation, so that's where the stubby comes in. You also need a pair of snips, which you'll see why we need those in a short while. Also, I always use or have a Sharpie pen with me, and you'll see why we need that a bit later on. But most importantly, you need the batteries. If you're ordering batteries, they are an MP7-12, and they're a 12 volt 7 amp hour battery. That's exactly what you need for these lifts to continue working correctly, and also so they fit into the chassis of the Stairlift itself. We use Genesis batteries. Now, these are the batteries the manufacturers use. We have tried different batteries over the years. These aren't the cheapest, but we found they always give the best longevity, so they are the ones we always invest in to ensure we keep our customers up and running. So Genesis MP7-12, 12 volt, 7 amp hour. These are sealed lead acid batteries, and if you look online, you'll be able to find these being retailed in many different places. I always work with the Stairlift at the top of the stairs for changing the batteries. It just makes access a little bit easier. Right to the top, I've turned the battery isolator switch off, so the display's gone off. And in this position now, you're ready to work on it. So foot plate down, grab your stubby. And first of all, you've got 2 bolts on this side of the carriage cover. You need to take those off first. So I'll just use my Posi 2 or Phillips stubby screwdriver, remove those 2 bolts and pop them somewhere safe, and then you just have this cover over the foot plate. Again, same screwdriver, undo that, and it's worth just keeping the bolt inside there. It just makes it easy to locate at the end, and then pop that somewhere safe. Now you have this little gaiter around here which goes around the seat post. We have to remove the 4 screws in the little cover around here. So it's a little bit tricky to get into there with your stubby, but just gently remove those. Okay, that's all 4 of those removed. Keep those safe. Okay, so you're taking this little gaiter off here, so gently bring the cover up, and that will lift up past the little rubber gaiter. Now, the important thing when you're doing this is do not force anything. If it doesn't want to go, don't force it, just gently tease things through. So tease that gaiter cover off, take the gaiter out, again pop that safe. Now if you pop the cover so it's facing vertically, it should just easily pull straight off of there without forcing it. You don't want to be twisting it because it will break. So again, pop that somewhere safe. Now we're at the part where we're taking the carriage cover off. You've got sensitive safety edges top and bottom. Now these can break very easily, so again, do not force this part through. You've got little tabs each side here, and if you pull too hard, it can break those off. So just very gently pull this through, just manipulate it round past the safety edge and work it upwards. There are 2 bolts on this back edge, which I'll show you when I'm in a little bit later on. I'm going to move the stairlift to the other side of the staircase just so it's easier to show. But just work it up from this position, make sure it's come away from this bottom edge here, and then gently lift it as hard as you can and then pull that towards you and then pop that out of the way, and then now we can see the batteries. Okay, so I've moved the stairlift across to the left-hand side of the stairs. If you have a left-hand straight stairlift, this is exactly how it's going to look when you take the cover off, because the chassis is the same, it's just everything's swapped over to the other side. On the right-hand side, all this is against the wall. So once your batteries are out, you'll see you've got 2 metal bands that hold the battery in place. They're released by a posi 2 screwdriver again. And then you've got a big zip tie across here, and this holds the batteries and the connections in place. It's more for traveling to make sure that if it's being transported, they can't come out or get damaged. But we need to take that off. And then you have the 4 connections. The batteries run in series, so you've got a positive, a link, and then the negative on the other side. So we need to take those off. So we'll start off first by undoing the zip tie, and that's where your snips come in. We need those. So basically just be very careful not to cut any wires while you're doing this. Snip that off, pull that out of the way. And then get your posi 2 or Phillips screwdriver. Gently undo these. These will come undone anti-clockwise. Just hold on to the nut at the top, otherwise that could go pinging off inside the stairlift itself. Pop the bolt somewhere safe. Repeat the process for the other side. A few turns and they come away. Okay, so now we just want to undo these connections that are on the top here. So just gently wiggle those off. Again, don't force anything on the lift. Just pull those off gently. Now some videos show you disconnecting these, but you don't need to, just keep those as they are. It just makes it easier to put back together. Now when you're taking the batteries out of the chassis, just hold the clamps, because you really, if there's any power left in the batteries, you don't want to cause a short. It wouldn't really cause any issues, you just get a good spark as it touches the positive and negative connections. So gently pull the bottom out and then slide those towards you. 1 battery removed. Again, just hold your clamps. And then pull the 2nd battery out, pop that somewhere safe. Right, so we've got our brand new Genesis batteries. So they're ready to go in. I leave the little covers on the top as they go in. Again, it just prevents any short as they slide in there. So you want it with the connections facing towards you. Put the top under the band clamps. Pop that one into position. 2nd battery. Repeat process, and that just pops in top. Now while it's in this position, just take your little covers off, and then I start with the negative, which is at the bottom, then the link, so that goes across the positive and negative in the middle. It can't actually reach to go anywhere else, so that's always going to be correct. And then last is your positive. Connect that back up, and at this point I would just turn the stairlift on just to ensure there is a proper connection, there's no issues. So there we are, all powered up, ready there. So we need to connect these band clamps back up, and if you look at the chassis you'll see 2 little nodules sticking out. the band clamps sit against those, so to ensure they're positioned correctly. Take your first bolt, feed it through from the bottom, grab yourself your nut, and the nuts are square, so they are like a captive nut, so they will hold themselves tight as you're doing that up. Okay, one done. Second one, again, just pull that up there, in through the bottom. So just pull those up tight, don't over tighten them, they'll just hold the batteries in nice and snug. You can put a big zip tie on if you want to again, but the batteries are held in nice and tight, and the connections are on nice and tight onto the terminals there, so they're super safe. If you remember at the start, I said I had a Sharpie pen. There's a reason for that. I do like just to mark on the batteries when they were fitted. We fit loads and loads of these, so we do keep a paper record, but it's always nice when you take the cover off, just a reassuring little note on there. So today's the 1st of May. 25. I almost put a little smiley face on, just to cheer myself up when I take the cover off. So that's the batteries in, they're tightened back up, both the clamps are correctly positioned inside these nodules, all your connections are back on correctly. While you've got the cover off, it's just worth making sure that all your other connections, just have a quick check, visual and a quick push. Just make sure all the other connections are pushed tight onto the board. Okay, batteries back in, Stairlift's back in its correct position. We're now going to replace the carriage cover. Now, take your time doing this. We don't want to damage, again, any of these sensitive safety edges. So bring the carriage cover up, slide it in. Just don't catch any wires as you're going over. And then just ensure it sits down over the bottom safety edge. You might just have to wiggle this round a little bit. So I've now tucked it in on this back edge, so it's inside this safety edge on the back edge, as well as being in on the bottom here. So as you're sliding it in, relocate it onto those 2 bolts on the back edge. You'll see those at the bottom, and then that will allow us to push it down into its correct position. Now this side here, just gently manipulate it under. What I tend to do is I put this end needs to go in first, so I'll pull the safety edge down and then just gently tuck it in there, located without any issues there. Just pull the little zip tie out that holds the cable in place. Okay, so we'll get some screws back in. So start with this foot plate cover. Your bolt's hopefully still inside there. Now there is a cable that runs through into your foot plate, and if you look, there's a little gap just here. You want to locate the cable through there. So again, don't force it. Make sure it doesn't catch. If you just seat it correctly, that should go into position, no problem at all. And then whilst holding it, just tighten that bolt. First bit done. You've got your 2 carriage bolts. Don't confuse those with the 4 that match to go in the top. Don't mix them up. And that's located perfectly. 1 in. And that's 2 in. Okay. And take your seat post gaiter, and you should have a little zip tie which comes around the top of there, so just make sure that's come above the gaiter. Tuck that in, and that little bottom tongue just ticks underneath the safety edge there, and there's a little Velcro strip which just holds that back edge together, so just push that together. Take your gaiter cover, and again we're putting that in vertically, and we're doing this to go around the seat post, not pulling it like that, else it will damage it. As you see, if you do that correctly, it folds in nice and easily. Once it's on top again, just manipulate it over the top of the rubber gaiter, and then it's time to pop your 4 screws back in. Now I do have a little tool just to make life a little bit easier. Like I say, I'd normally take the seat off for this, but this just will assist at this point. These don't need to be tight, they just need to be sat inside the countersunk heads on the plastic. If you go too tight, you'll just end up cracking the plastic. So repeat that process on all four. And then just have a quick visual around the stairlift to make sure everything's backing correctly. Make sure your bolts are connected at the back there. Make sure all your safety edges are correct. And then you're good to go. Turn back on. And your stairlift is back up and running. Your stairlift is hopefully back up and running. I hope you found this video useful. If it has, please give us a like and a thumbs up. If you've got any comments or any questions regarding the stairlift that you might have, drop it in the comments below and we'll do our best to answer those questions. And if there's any videos you'd like us to see, again, let us know and we'll do our best to help you out. Thanks for watching. I'm Ian, Helping Hand Stairlifts.